presented by IT Cadre, Austin Ekeler, where DC sports insiders share their exclusive perspective. Austin, it's been a fantastic season chatting with you every single week. This is our final ride here after the elimination game. Let's go back to Sunday going into the game. What was your guys' level of confidence heading up to Philly? How did you feel going into the matchup?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Yeah, this is been a great journey, and it was a great journey. Obviously, didn't end the way we wanted to, but going into that game, the mindset was let's continue to hunt, just like we were, the 2 weeks before that, going in the playoffs. Like understanding that it's pretty much us versus basically ourselves, right? Let's go out there, and as long as we play our game, we'll be able to find success like we have in the past. And so that was the mindset going into it.
What was different about the third time? Like, what sort of changes did you guys make? Did they make that you kind of noticed was different playing the same team for a third time?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when you get to this point in the season, you are who you are, and you hang your hat on that. You're gonna live or die by that. And so it wasn't anything crazy that they did that we weren't expecting or anything like that, or vice versa. Just on that day, they were better at what they did than we were able to, keep up with. And at the end of the day, as an offense, we just had too many turnovers. And as we know, watching the other games and even our games, that turnover margin in the NFL, especially at the playoff level, is detrimental to your success. And that's kind of what ended up playing out for us.
One of the things we've been talking about with listeners, we've taken a lot of calls on the last couple of days, is the juxtaposition, Austin, of the amazing year nobody saw coming, the fun ride that we all went on that was kind of a gift, frankly, and then it ending. Every year ends with a loss, but 55 points had never been scored in a conference title game, and 50 million people watching and losing by 30, and like trying to make sense of all that. How do we feel about the end being what it was when it was so great all year? And I was kind of already, like, the minute the game ended, in the mode of, you know what? Thank God for this season. This is the best year in 33 years. I'm 36. I've never seen anything like this for this team in my life. Danny, it's taken a little bit longer. He's reeling a little more. What about you? Like, how do you compartmentalize those things?
Man, it sucks. Like for us as competitors, being in the building, especially when you have a lot of guys that weren't here in the previous year. And even if you were, right, every time you have a new season, it's a new mindset that, hey, we're going to go the distance. And to get that close and to, kind of go out like that, where it was a pretty brutal beating, it stings either way. Even if it was a close game and we lost, it would still sting. Like, just because you're so close to getting to that final game, and really giving yourself a chance to be a world champion, and just how much goes into it. And especially as a year 8 player now, just knowing that teams are different every single year. You can have high expectations and kind of flatline, or vice versa, like we did this year, where there's low expectations, but we actually superseded those. And you never know how the game's gonna play out. You just know you're gonna give it your best shot, and hopefully that can give you some wins and give you a chance to get into the tournament. And it's a journey every single time. So I'm definitely still feeling it. Like, that weight will hold on me, for a while. Definitely till the Super Bowl, because it's just I can't even watch it. I feel like it's just sick watching it. Especially because, I've gone against the Chiefs for the past, 7 years. And then also now the Eagles in our division, now they're going. So it's like, great. I'm getting the double dip of people that I don't want to see win the thing. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
How long does it usually take for you to kind of say, just that as such a high-level competitor, Austin, to go from, I'm so annoyed, I'm ticked off, it stinks having lost that last game, to, okay, I can have some appreciation for this journey here as I get a little bit further away? Like, for you personally, how long does it kind of take to turn that page?
Ooh, I feel like I need to have, like, I don't know, a month or so. Like, I need to get, like, in a different routine almost. Like, I've been in the football routine for so long, and that's kind of what I'm accustomed to right now. And until I can actually, like, get some time to get in a routine doing something else right now, to be training and dealing with some business endeavors, once that starts to become like a normal daily thing for me and gets my mind on something else, I think that's what it'll take. So at least February, before I'm like feeling like, okay, rejuvenated, and my mind is like not thinking about it anymore, and kind of that weight of disappointment is lifted off of me. But there's always a little piece that will always remember what it felt like. to be in that moment and lose that way.
Austin Ekeler, presented by IT Cadre, with us on Grant and Danny. One of the things Dan Quinn talked about after the game, obviously the 3 turnovers were such a key, but he talked about how he gave the Eagles a lot of credit. Like, it's not like you guys just dropped the ball or ran into each other or something, right? Like, the Eagles really made plays. The punch fumble on you when you were getting up after a really nice athletic catch and you're hopping back to your feet to try to go get extra yards. The Army's fighting for extra yards. Do you take any solace in that, or is that something where you're like, nah, dude, it just can't happen? Like, what's your thought on they get paid too, and those were pretty good defensive plays, even though they were kind of damaging plays?
Yeah, that's the margin of the NFL, and it's one careless play here or there with the ball, and that can turn into the game coming out in a different outcome. And for us, it was more of a landslide since we had 4 turnovers. They had 0. They took care of the ball better than we did, and it was kind of the opposite when we played the Lions, right? They didn't take care of the ball as well as we did. And it shows. It's not that you don't practice it. Obviously we practice it. We didn't turn it over at all. We were like the week before, or
you guys had 0.
We were like one of the lowest, turnover teams in the league this entire year. And so it's definitely something that we coach. Dan Quinn says it almost every day. It's all about the ball. It's something that we're conscious of. But again, all the talking in practice is all to lead up to Sunday, to where it has to show up and it has to matter the most. And unfortunately, we were put in situations where there were some slip-ups, including mine. I take ownership of that. I got to make sure, even if I'm getting up off the ground, protecting the ball, or know when the ride's over and just stay down. And, we got to take that. And that's what sports is. Who makes the least amount of mistakes? And for us on Sunday, it was them. And, that's why. So it's not that it's not important. It's always important. It's always of the utmost importance. It's about who can maintain the most discipline during the game.
Well, you put way more deposits in the bank than withdrawals. So hopefully you're not beating yourself up too bad. Our buddy Austin Ekeler here on Grant and Danny on the Fan, joining us one final ride after this. The final game of the Commanders season in the NFC Championship game, an amazing campaign where they ended up in the Final Four in the NFL. For the guys that are coming back like yourself with a multi-year deal, what do you think you can take out of the 3 playoff games you guys played in for a guy like Jaden, a rookie quarterback who hopefully is playing in games like this next year? Like, in what ways will you guys be better off for this experience and these scars, as Dan Quinn calls it?
Yeah, when you have a new core group of guys come in like we did, and new coaching staff, they bring in the new philosophy. So something that's going to carry over will be just those. Will be the standard of the team. Will also be kind of the expectation of this team now is as at a new level for ourselves internally, because we know now not because we don't think we're going to win, but now because we know the capabilities of our team, which we really had some questions about, at the beginning of the year when we were kind of unfamiliar with ourselves. And so now having a new core group with new philosophies and that are going to be here for a second year, I think we're really in a position to build off of what we've done this year. It's not going to be the same team, so it won't be necessarily apples to apples, but it's still going to be in the realm of the Dan Quinn flavor. We'll see what happens with the coordinators. I saw something about Cliff maybe not leaving or something like that. And obviously, we have Jaden coming back, so our offense is going to run through him just like it did this year. So for an offensively standpoint, like, we're going to have our identity. And I think that's going to be something that is going to be established. Jaden's going to be involved in running, passing, doing all that stuff. And then also keeping us in the RPO game, quick passes, Terry coming alive this year as well in his way. So our identity has really solidified ourselves. And I think that's going to be the biggest carryover next year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Austin, you referenced it. That's the report, is that Cliff Kingsbury's, on his way back to Washington. How important is that continuity, kind of keeping those same voices, as a guy that's been around in the league and gone through a couple different sets of changes? How important is that to kind of keep all those things you just mentioned, everything on the train tracks?
Well, I mean, just look at the teams that have been there and done that. Look at the old Patriots. Look at the Chiefs now. And once you find a chemistry that works, man, as an ownership, I hope you're doing everything to really hold on to that, because it's rare. And you can tell, because you can see every year all the different shuffles of coordinators and head coaches and this and that. And so that's what the NFL is. How can we put the best group of men together and support staff together to actually push this thing forward and maintain and sustain success. Because we know what that means. That means legacy building. And now, the Chiefs are known as the heavy hitter. That's the team to beat. And, what that does for the city, what that does for, all of those fans that are in that, it makes it a staple in your legacy as a team, as a country. As a state, like you're represented. So there's so much that rides on. That's why we put so much into this. And I hope, they do everything they can to continue to keep us in a place where we have a winning culture right now and try to keep it together. But at the same time, if they get another opportunity and they're like, hey, I want to go be a head coach over there, you can't blame them for that either.
Austin Ekeler, 13 touches for the Commanders, heavily involved in their NFC Championship game in Philly this past weekend. Joining us here, presented by IT Cadre on Grant and Danny. We'll get some listener questions in just a couple of moments. In terms of progressing this offseason, like they're going to go out and add talent and bring guys in to help you out. Danny and I have been talking a lot about how we're confident the team will be more talented next year, but that doesn't guarantee anything. Like so much of this was about chemistry and the brotherhood and the locker room, and this group will never be the same. I mean, as a leader in the locker room, what's that part like for you in terms of you're going to have to recapture that magic a little bit with Dan Quinn?
Yeah, we will. We 100% will, and that's kind of the the plus and the minus, the good and the bad with sports. As far as you're going to have to do it over again, which can be a bad thing if you just had an amazing season because you're going to lose some people, but it's also a good thing because it's a new opportunity to kind of write a new story for that year if you're going through it. So it kind of makes things fluid, and so that's what it will be this year. And there's no guarantees. I hope. For me as a player and a leader, I hope we bring in good guys that we had like this year. Most of the guys that are bought into a vision and really kind of bought into this brotherhood thing that we talk about all the time and what this standard means, when it means practicing, when it means taking care of the team. Really not a lot of problems coming from our team as far as, our culture and especially going out to the media. Like there's nothing really that really stood out this year that I've seen in the past where, you can see some things that are divided and obviously winning helps that. But definitely, can be easy to just have pop up that we see so many times where you have individuals that are popping off for not getting the ball or this or that. And there's just never, ever a sense of that was ever going to be a thing just because of the guys that we had in. So, you can't really judge a man's character from, seeing him up front and seeing the stats, but I'm hoping that we can bring in some good character guys that are talented that, can fit kind of the mold that we have here with DQ and Adam Peters.
Austin, you're such a sharp guy and very thoughtful about matters of the league and the sport in general and players and everything else. So I learned something this past week or this past Sunday as I'm watching the game. And the defense, your defense, was trying to stop a play. And the referee said, listen, I'm paraphrasing, if these guys do it again, I'm going to turn this car around and give Philadelphia points. I've never seen that. I'd never heard of that. What was first of all, did you know that? Second of all, what was going through your mind and the mind of the guys on the sideline going like, what the hell is this dude talking about? They're doing hard counts and guys are reacting. That sounded crazy to me.
Yeah, we every Friday we go over basically like a rules check and we'll talk about some of the funky rules and things that can kind of come up through the NFL and talk through scenarios. So we've talked through that one before where they can actually award different types of points and weird kind of plays that come up. Someone runs off the sideline and stuff like that. So yes, I've heard of it. I've never obviously seen it because I don't think we've seen that in, decades ever happen. But, in my opinion, after the second one, I'm just saying, okay, run the dang play. We know what's happening. It's freaking basically unstoppable. Just get it over with, do something. And, those guys, the defense, trying to do everything they can. Obviously, Lubu's selling out to try to stop this play. And so desperate times come from desperate measures. So I don't blame him. Send it. And, he got warned. And I thought it was, I'm like, yeah, I'm here for it, man. Cause I don't know what else you can do. Cause stuff is basically unstoppable. So, that was a kind of a wacky moment.
Austin, I got two listener questions here presented by IT Cadre for you so we can end the conversation with these couple. I'll start with Z, who says, what's Austin going to do to unwind after the long, crazy season? So what are your plans in the coming days to kind of get your head back on straight?
Yeah, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it comes down to just getting into the off-season routine. And for me, it really comes down to my training regimen. Like, I'll get back into training. I'll take a few weeks off. Not necessarily don't need it from like a lifting standpoint, from getting hit and stuff like that. So let's let my body feel like it feels completely good. Like my finger, there's just little, residuals. Like my fingers are jammed. My neck is sore to turn, like to turn to different sides. Like my hamstrings are a little sore. So like things like that you give a couple weeks. And then for me, it's right back into my business endeavor. So I have an app that's helping athletes create content for universities right now for their collective duties and stuff like that. So we can continue to share the stories of ourselves as athletes for the fans. So that'll be my biggest priority as far as kind of like the professional world. But then keep myself in tip top shape when it comes to my NFL journey, and making sure that I'm spending the time, putting in the time at the training facility. And then also I'm married now. I'm married for like 8 months. So I'll be spending a lot of time with wifey, a vacation here or there. And then I think we have a few weddings and stuff like that. So that is my off season, and I am definitely looking forward to it after 8 years in the league.
Austin, last one, listener question from Aaron. It says it's probably an underrated thing from fans how hard it is for you guys that have been together every day for, 3/4, 9 to 8/10 or whatever of a year, every day as teammates, and this unit will never be the same again. What's the hardest part about kind of saying goodbye almost to a team?
Yeah, there's a few things in there that I'll give you some insights on. So definitely not seeing each other as much kind of just breaks up the camaraderie that we had just every single day. Some of us will stay in touch with each other, but a lot of that was us put in a position where we get to see each other every single day, and it's more so forced upon you. So that brotherhood's a lot easier to maintain, just like when you're in college or high school, when you see your buddies every single day, and then you grow old, you kind of grow apart from each other because of locations and jobs and stuff. So now it's like, now we all go back. I'm going to Nevada, there's going to Florida, Texas. So it just becomes a little bit more distant than it used to be. And then other things too that we always miss, like for me, like the routine of having a table to get like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so really not having to cook at all. Like the whole routine is just kind of flipped on its head. I always tell my wife, I'm like, dang, one of the worst parts is now we got to make our own food. So, it's just an adjustment that we have to do. But I mean, just like anything, we'll take it head on and, get after it. But, definitely going to miss the guys. And I know some of them actually will be out and where I'm training, we'll train at the same place. So we'll stay in touch, obviously, through that, and keep some camaraderie going. And I know OTAs is only a few months out. So that's what's great about off season as well, is we get some time together when we're training during OTAs.
Well, Austin, the season on the field for you guys was a blast. It was a lot of fun. 14 wins and an NFC title game appearance. Many of us will never forget it. But I got to tell you, on behalf of our producers, Darius and Ryan, and myself and Danny, we have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you and interviewing you once a week, all season long. Just such a pro. And we've had countless listeners reach out to us about things they've learned about the NFL experience, or just really getting to know you through the airwaves. You've made a lot of fans here in DC, but thank you for an awesome season. We really enjoyed this partnership.
Yeah, likewise. And I want to say thank you to you guys for, letting me have this platform. This is your guys' show, and you guys are sharing that with me so I can get my voice out there and we can make some great content for everyone listening out there. So thank you to everyone that's been staying tuned, and looking forward to coming back, and let's keep the wave going. We're not done yet. So I hope you guys are ready for next year.
Well, we're already line them up. Week 1, baby. Let's go. September can't come soon enough. I know you want to go to those weddings and have some fun.
Get
with
your
the
feet
wife.
up a couple days.
Yeah, but we're not sore. We're ready to go. I can eat chips and dip and watch football again in a week. But seriously, enjoy your off season.
Thank you, buddy.
And we'll talk soon, hopefully, Austin. Thanks, brother.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, be good. There's Austin Ekeler, one final time this season, presented by IT Cadre. Trusted insight, helping leaders of the nation's most important organizations understand complexity, align efforts, and make the best data-driven decisions to achieve success. IT Cadre, your vision, our purpose. He was tremendous all year long,
man. Such a sharp dude. And I love how thoughtful he is, and how he's whether I expected the perspective or not, he's always got a perspective on something. You know what I mean? Like it's not just any kind of recycled cliche. It's that no, you can always tell. I've thought about that, whatever that is.
Yep.
I have an opinion about it, and this is why I do what I do, or this is why this is done this way, and it could be done that way, or this is the right way. There's always he has an answer for everything, and that's what I was always so impressed with him, man. Awesome every week.
You know what I'll say is, hopefully we do it again next year, and next year I'm going to make it a point to ask him more things about around the league stuff, because it wasn't until late in the year that we started to broach more like NFL themed conversations and not just what's going on with the Commanders matchup this week. And he was so good on that stuff.
Yeah. So, for example, the coaching calendar, he volunteered that. It's not even we asked him about it.
Right.
He's going, yeah, you know what I would do if I was in charge? I would have a moratorium on coaching hires the same way we do for free agency in the draft. I don't think it's fair.
My favorite was his take, though, on Saquon Barkley.
Another one, yeah.
And just how passionate and opinionated he was on running backs not being paid what a lot of other positions get paid. And also the hard knocks behind the scenes video that we got to see of those negotiations and how bad the Giants looked. And he was excellent on that.